A shocking Boston Bruins move is imminent as we just got some incredible news from the Boston Bruins themselves coming out that David Pastrnak and Charlie McAvoy are set to return over the coming games. We're going to be breaking it down as well as going over one player in specific who may be at a very interesting position due to these moves. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to break down here today as the Bruins are getting their guys back almost at 100% health for the first time in what feels like ages. And we have a lot of good news coming with this and a few more things that we're going to touch on here in this video. So be sure to stick around until the end because I want to ask you guys one big question. But before we do jump into this video, I ask you one favor, and if you haven't already, be sure to hit the sub button. Join me here on the channel. Like I said, a lot of exciting Bruin stuff is on the horizon, and we're going to have it all right here on the channel. But we need to get into this because officially as of not too long ago, we saw this come out from Fluto Shinzawa. Charlie McAvoy and David Pastrnak are both traveling on this upcoming 3-game road trip, and both are hoping to play. Now, the big one here, and we're going to touch on David Pastrnak in a moment, but the big one is Charlie McAvoy. And as we know, he lost 20 pounds while not being able to eat solid food. And I believe as of right now, and until about January, early January, late December, he will continue to not be able to eat solid food. But after losing 20 pounds, he's making a much sooner return than I think everybody thought, including me. You can go back a few videos ago where I spoke about it may be mid-January when I thought he would return after getting that weight back, but I guess at the end of the day, he just wasn't eating, so getting more food in him, getting any food into Charlie McAvoy ultimately got him back to a reasonable weight, and with all of these reports coming out, as we mentioned, as we remember, losing 20 pounds, that's a long way to get your strength back and get everything, and this did come from Ryan Johnson. But looking at it now, Charlie McAvoy is put back on around 10 pounds, back up to what was half the weight he lost, which is a great sign already, because this was only a few days ago. Putting that back on that quick is a great sign. So I'm still kind of, in shock that Charlie McAvoy will be back so soon and will be wearing the bubble. That's been for sure. Whether it is going to be a cage or a full visor, we don't know yet, but something will certainly be here for a while. But he was out of the no-contact jersey in practice today, was skating, and came out and said this right here, which is obviously another great thing to see. He said, "I'm going on the trip with expectations, and I'm hoping at some point along the trip, I'll be able to get back in." Now, immediately, a great thing you want to see her, and one thing, too, that we have to consider is that he is still going to have to get the okay from whether it is the team doctor, a trainer, somebody is going to give him, or have to give him, the 100% you're good to go back before we do. So I don't want to put too much expectation that Charlie McAvoy will actually return here in this 3-game road trip. If I was a betting man, I would say he would be. However, you got to make sure that you're 100% okay, like we mentioned, especially with this. The doctor's going to have to give it to him. So if he does not return in this 3-game road trip, I won't be mad because, being back this early is already a massive win, and I believe it was, since around mid-November or a little bit before was the last time that we had both David Pastrnak and Charlie McAvoy back in this lineup. So a few more days, if it is a game or two that we won't see them back again, that's perfectly fine, but the fact that we know it's going to be soon is the big thing, and especially when you're looking at the way that Steve Conroy put it out here, still needs to be declared that he can play, but he's not ruling out tomorrow night. So this is a great sign. Obviously, good thing there on Charlie McAvoy's point, and having him back, not just in the lineup as a possibility, but with the team, you already see kind of the momentum, the vibe, the energy, the aura around the team just be increased now that Charlie McAvoy's back and also David Pastrnak. And on that as well, Scott McLaughlin tweeted this out. Since Pastrnak is still in a no-contact jersey and not taking part of the regular power play group, took some light penalty kill shifts, but he seemed to enjoy it. This has been a loud, vibes are high kind of practice, and that is exactly what we were missing while these two guys were out. And like I said, whether or not they're in the game for the next coming 3-game road trip or not, or any of these games, the fact that they're going to be with the team is immediately what you needed, is what this team needed. And you've seen Fraser Minton, you've seen this team come out, speak on how they can stack up wins with these two guys out. They believe in the team, but when you're out your top guys, the momentum shifters here in this lineup, it is definitely not just tough, but it's also it's in the back of your head while you're playing these games and knowing that you don't have some of the best players, some of the kind of the loud guys, the leaders on this team playing, and you want to win for them. So that is some great signs here that both of these guys are back. And although Pastrnak is in a no-contact jersey still, that could be something as soon as next practice. He'll be back in a regular jersey, and let's hope it is. But as it comes to both of these guys, they need to be 100% before you return. McAvoy needs the okay from a doctor, presumably, and Pastrnak, I think it's just as soon as he's feeling good, he is back in the lineup. Now, as it comes down to day as well, the practice came out with these lines here. Very similar to what we've been seeing the entire time. Huzadinov down to that fourth line once again, with Elias Lindholm, Alex Steeves, and Morgan Geekie on the first line. And of course, McAvoy will have his place ready to go. Be interesting to see if they keep in Victor Soderstrom or Jonathan Aspero here. I'd like to see Soderstrom some more, but also, I think as much as both of these guys have been playing great, you need to get McAvoy back in regardless of what happens. But one player in specific, and Alex Steeves, is going to be in a very interesting position when Pastrnak does return here, whether it is on this 3-game road trip or not. You'll be curious to see where he goes from here, because Marco Sturm has loved Alex Steeves' game. He's vocally said it. Alex Steeves spoken out about it. He's been on a phenomenal pace this year and playing some very good hockey on the first line, on the second line, wherever he has been put, in the absence of whoever it was at this time, most notably David Pastrnak. But when Pastrnak returns, I wonder what the plan is going to be, because he's not a guy that you can just take out of the lineup. You're going through this list here. Of course, he seems like the candidate it would be if you're going just based on namesake. But when a player is hot like Alex Steeves, it's a very tough ask to take him out of the lineup in favor of someone else. I would certainly assume that he'll remain in the lineup, perhaps move down to a second line, a third line. It would be tough to kind of split up that second line, which has been very good together, but it's also very tough to remove Alex Steeves from the lineup. So I want to get your guys' opinion on it here. Who do you think, first of all, comes out of this lineup, whether it is maybe a Marat Huzanadinov again, who has cooled down a bit but still playing some very good hockey, whether it is Alex Steeves, or whether it's a name that we probably wouldn't expect here in this lineup, because although at this point right now, there are 13 forwards that will all have very high value on this NHL roster right now, and especially over this road trip where you're going up against the Blues, the Jets, and the Wild, it's going to be some very important hockey over these coming games, and you're back home for 5 after that, and then on the road again. But they may go on off a matchup. They may just see who's playing the best at that point in time. But with these games here, there's a few games that they certainly should win, and they may experiment with the lineup a little bit. But I think the one big question as well I want to ask you, as well as with Alex Steeves, how do you think that the return of Charlie McAvoy and David Pastrnak will affect this Bruins roster? Kind of what Steve Conroy said here for this practice. It's a very or Scott McLaughlin, excuse me. It's a very high energy, very vibes are high type of practice. I feel like that's already set a good step forward for this road trip, and having these guys possibly back in the lineup, not even back for sure, but possibly, is a very, very good sign for this Boston Bruins team. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about these returns, but also what you think the plan is with Alex Steeves and how Marco Sturm may attack this here on this day off tomorrow and ahead of tomorrow's game, or when David Pastrnak, of course, does return to the lineup. But that is all I have here in this one. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.